Hey, what's up, Musers? This is John at Muse for You, here to help you build awesome websites without code. And yesterday I came out with a video tutorial on the Muse Motion widget. And as I was creating the video and creating the website, there were a few improvements that I wanted to make to the widget. So I've gone ahead and done that. And I have an example site here. I'll show the example site, and then I'll show you the updates that I've added to the Muse Motion widget. I didn't change the version number because I just recently came out with the widget, so I've just updated the features in it. So if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, we can see here we have this animation, and each element animates one after another. And here it says, "What is your cat thinking about?" So it's just a fun little animation of cats thinking about different things. And there it goes again. And looks good. So I was able to achieve this effect a few different ways. I'll go ahead and go over the updates to the Muse Motion widget. The first update is the animation delay. The reason I was able to animate each element one after another is because I set a delay for each animation after the other. So I'm actually going to recreate this entire animation in this video tutorial. The other option that I set is hidden initially. And the one thing I noticed when I was working on the last website and the last video tutorial is that when I first previewed the site, the animation is almost like you could see the animation really quick before it animated, and I didn't quite like that because it didn't seem very fluid. It was almost like a little bit glitchy, like the animation, like you saw it first and then it animated. So here I've set it to hidden initially. If you're using on hover or on click or on or on scroll, you want to have this unchecked because you want to have the element visible, so you can click on it and have it do or have it trigger differently, like on click, on hover, and on scroll. So you'll just want to have that unchecked for those options. And if you did have it hidden initially, you can use the animation delay with it. So for these animations, I have it hidden initially, and then I set a delay so that at first the animation's hidden, and then after, let's say 3 seconds, or 2, 3, 4 seconds, the animation comes in. Okay, the next option that I added is the transform origin, and this is a lot of fun because let's say you want your animation to animate from the top right or the top left, bottom right, bottom left. You can now have that option in the transform origin, or if you want to have the animation animate from the center, you just have to transform origin to 50-50, and that's the center. Top left is 0, 0, 0, bottom right is 100, 100, top right is 100, 0, and bottom left is 0, 100. So it's on the X and Y axis. So if you just think of the X and Y kind of like the graph and the different coordinates there on the graph, and that's how the transform origin works. And I'll show you a quick example of this before I get into the animation. So that's the other option I changed, and the other option that I added is rotate first. So I'm actually going to show an example of this, and so I'll go to File, New Site, and I'll click OK. I'll click on the new page, and I'll just create a square, and I'll fill it, and I'll put it over here. I'll go to my library panel. I'll type in Muse Motion, and I'll bring in the initial. So here we have the initial, and I'll bring it right up here, and I'll give this element the graphic style name Motion1, because the graphic style name in the widget is Motion1, and we can change this, but we'd have to assign that particular graphic style name to the element. So here we'll leave it at Motion1, and then we'll click on the element here, and I'll go to my graphic styles panel. If you don't see your graphic styles panel, you can just go to Window and then click on Library. So I'll bring up my graphic styles panel, and I'll click on New Style here, this little icon that looks like a piece of paper. Then I'll double click, and I'll call this Motion1. Okay, so now anything I do in this widget is going to be assigned to this element. Okay, so here I have rotate first checked. So let's say I'm going to rotate the element 360 degrees, and I'm going to translate it. I'm going to move it to the right 300 pixels. So I'm going to say translate to 300. So now if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, we can see that it rotates and then it translates it. It moves on the x-axis. So let's say I wanted to uncheck rotate first. What would happen is it would register the translation first, or the translate, and then it would rotate the translate. So if I go to File, Preview Page, and Browser, we can see that the element rotated like in a circle, and that's just kind of the way that works. If you did want to rotate it first and not have the animation rotate like it did, then you would just select rotate first, and you can have like a lot of fun with this option and play with your animations to get the desired effect that you want. So that's just that there, and I'll slow the translate down a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. So I'll say duration 3 seconds. All right, and I'll go to File, Preview Page, and Browser, and there we go. And let's set the rotation a little bit longer. With the rotation, you want to make sure that the number of rotations and the duration match well. Otherwise, you might get a choppy animation because the rotation is trying to rotate and also take time to rotate. So here we'll check it out. No, that looks good. Actually, that looks really good. And let me see if I can set it to longer just so I can show you an example of what I mean. So I'll set the rotation duration to 5 seconds. A lot of these options I've gone over in the first video and then the second video, so you can just watch those if you want to know more about some of the options I'm playing with. And it looks great. Actually, it might have just been when I was working on the earlier release that I had that issue, but you can make it as long as you want the duration and it'll still look good. So there we go. Perfect. All right, so yeah, the new release of this widget has a lot of great features and a lot of improvements to it, so I'm really excited about that. So that's just the example there that I wanted to show. Let me see if there's anything else I can show. Let's say I uncheck hidden initially, and yeah, no, we can leave hidden initially checked. And then let's say I want the animation delay to be 2 seconds, and I go to File, Preview Page, and Browser. It's going to wait 2 seconds and then it's going to animate in. So it's just a lot of fun there. You can really play with that and have a lot of fun with that. All right, so now that I've gone over the updates were the animation delay, hidden initially, and rotate first, and the transform origin. Okay, so those are the updates, and now I'm just going to quickly recreate this animation here. It was a lot of fun creating this. So I'm going to go to File, File, New Site. I'm going to click OK, and I'll double click in here, and then I'll open up that file. I'll go to my folder here, and I'll right click, open with Adobe Illustrator. And here I have the animation. So the first thing I did was I copied this color here from the background. So I'll just double click in here in Illustrator, copy the hex code, go back into Muse, and here I'll paste in the hex code, and there we have that color. The next thing I did, so now we can leave that there. I'll just lock this color here so it doesn't interfere with me selecting these objects. So I'll go to Object, Lock, and I'll lock this background here. I did that by going to Lock, Object, Lock, Selection, and I had the background selected. So the next thing I want to do is ungroup these elements. So I'm going to select them all. I'm going to right click, ungroup, and then I'm going to ungroup each of these cats and their corresponding bubbles. So I'm just selecting them and ungrouping them. Ungroup, ungroup, and ungroup. All right, so now I'm going to select everything but the bubbles. So I'll select this cat here, this cat here, this cat here, this cat here. Oh, the other thing I didn't do before I do any of this, let me unlock all, and I'm going to change the size of this image because it's almost 5,000 pixels wide by 5,000 pixels in height, and that's too large. So the width that I want it to have on my Adobe Muse website is 700 pixels wide. So in the width, I'll just change it to 700. Okay, and we can see that the image got a lot smaller, so I'll just zoom in, and we can zoom in all the way there. All right, so now we can select these elements. So I'll select this cat, this cat, this cat, this one here, this one here, this one, and this one. And then I'll select the couch there. So now I have those elements selected. So I'll hit Command-C to copy, and I'll go into Muse, and I'll hit Command-V to paste. And there are my cats, or the cats in this image. And now I'll go and copy each of the bubbles and place them next to the cats. So I'll copy this bubble, I'll copy that, paste right there, and this one, paste right there. I'll go into this one, paste in here. Yeah, this one, this guy here. Yep, let's bring it down a little bit. There we go. This guy here, and this guy here. It's funny what cats think about. We got this mouse here. I have a funny story about that, but I probably won't get into it in this video. Okay, so there's the mouse. Poor mouse. Okay, and then we have this one here, this cat. I'll paste that in there, and perfect. So what is your cat thinking about? All right, that looks good. Yeah, I like the position of that there. So now I'm gonna assign graphic style names to each of the bubbles. So the first one I'm going to assign is this one here, or actually, let's start with this one here. Looks like cookies or food. So I'll click that element, and I'll click on the create new style icon here in the graphic styles panel. Yeah, and again, if you don't see graphic styles, it's Windows graphic styles. So yeah, I'll click here in graphic styles, click on the icon, and then double click on style, and I'll call this motion 1. I'll go to the next bubble here, create a new graphic style. I'll call this motion 2. This bubble here, new graphic style, motion 3. This bubble here, new graphic style, motion 4. This bubble here, new graphic style, motion 5, and this one here, double click, motion 6, and then this one here, motion 7. Okay, so now we've assigned all the graphic styles name. So now all I have to do is bring in the Muse Motion widget. So I'll go to my library panel. If you don't see your library panel, again, window, and then click on library, and that'll bring up the library panel. And I'll type in Muse Motion. For the first one, we want to select initial. For the first one, and any ones after the first one, we'll select additional. So there we have Muse Motion. The graphic style name is Motion 1. So for this first animation, this is Motion 1 here. We want it to scale from the bottom left. Okay, so to do that, we're going to select the widget. The animation delay, we're not going to have a delay for the first one. We can leave it at hidden initially. It's going to start on start, and all this is good. We can leave that there. For the transform origin, because we want it to start from the bottom left, we want to say on the x-axis, we want to say 0, and on the y-axis, we want to say 100. So it'll be all the way to the left on the x-axis, and then all the way down on the y-axis. So it'll animate from the bottom left. And then for the scale, I'm going to start the scale at 0. Yeah, from 0 to 1, and that's the most scale you can have for here. And then for the duration, we're going to set it to 3 seconds, and we're not going to have a delay. And that's it. So that's all the settings for that one. So if I go to File, Preview Page, and Browser, we see it animates from the bottom left, and it has that nice scaling effect. Okay, so now I'll go back into my library panel, and I'll go to Muse Motion again, or I'll type in Muse Motion, and then I'll select the additional. So I'll click, hold, and drag, and place onto my Adobe Muse website. And for the second one, we see it says Motion 2. So let me close my library panel. Yeah, I just closed it there. And I'll open the widget options. And for this one, the second animation is Motion 2. So it's this, this bubble here. And we want this to animate from the top left. So to animate it from the top left, we'll leave all these options here because they're the same as the first one, and we don't really need to change anything here. We're going to change the animation delay actually in a second, or we'll do that now, because I want them to start 1 second after each other. So for this second one, we're going to set an animation delay of 1000. Yeah, 1000. And then for the transform origin, we're going to say 0, 0, and this is going to animate the element from the top left. And then for the scale, we're going to set it from 0, 0. Duration, we'll say 3 seconds. Okay, so I'll go to File, Preview Page. Oh, I went to Site and Browser. But there, we can see it animates those two. Yeah, it's okay if you go to page or site. If you have multiple pages, you can preview site in browser to render all the pages. Yeah, just a little side note there. So the next thing, I'm just going to move quickly through the rest of these. I'm just going to copy the additional, so I'll hit Command C on the widget and then Command V, and it'll paste the additional widget. And then all I have to do is change the instance number to 3, the graphic style name to motion 3. We'll change the delay to 2 seconds. And for this one, we want it to go, this one here, we want it to go from the bottom right. So for the x-axis on the transform origin, we're going to say 100. And for the y, we're going to say 100, the y-axis. So it goes all the way to the right and all the way to the bottom. And then for the scale, these are all the same, so I can leave that there. So I'll copy and paste the widget again. And then I'll just place it over here. And then I'll say the animation delay, we'll say 3 seconds there. And so this is this one's number 4. This one's coming in from the bottom left. So we want to say 0 on the X and 100 on the Y, and this is all good. Just as a side note, what's really fun, we'll see the animation now. You can use this for like different devices, like it is responsive, like the images are responsive, so you could move these elements around and have them animate on different devices. It's not really recommended to have too many animations on mobile, but if you find that, you know, when you're working on it, that it kind of works, there is that option. I myself don't like to put, you know, a lot of animations on mobile, because I think people are just really looking for information or trying to navigate quickly with their finger. So I don't tend to add too much animation on there, but I did want to show that the images are responsive there. Okay, so we saw that 4 didn't work there, so let's, oh yeah, it's because I didn't change the instance number here. We want to change the instance number and the motion, so I'll copy this again. And number 5 is this one here with the hearts. This is from the bottom left. So for the, we'll change the instance number first and then the graphic style name. We'll add, we'll say 4 seconds. And then this is from the bottom left, so it would be actually the same thing here as 4. And so I'll just copy this again, and I'll bring this in here. And then this one is from the top right. So I'll change this to 6 and this to 6 and 5 seconds here. And then from the top right, so it's going to be 100 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. Okay, and then we have number 7. What is your cat thinking about? And I'll bring this down here. And yeah, let's change the instance number to 7, motion 7, 6 seconds we'll add here. And all that's good. And we want it to go from the bottom left, so it's 0 on the x-axis and 100 on the y-axis. So that should be it for this animation. So let's go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and I'll show you. Yeah, let's watch it first, and that looks good. Okay, so we see that because this what is your cat thinking about bubble was hidden initially, it actually brought the whole site up. So a few things we can do with that, we can pin everything to the top, and this will just make sure that everything stays centered. And we have the animation there, looks good and perfect. So it didn't move. The other thing we could just do is just bring the animation down, and as you're designing, you can put other elements around it so it doesn't really do that thing where it kind of like, for instance, here, let me unfix it. And, you know, I'll add some text here at the top. So basically what the site is looking for is looking for an element so that it knows that it needs that space in the website. So if we add an element here, we can see that the image just stays there at the bottom and doesn't, you know, go to the top. All right, so move down a little bit. So it just takes a little bit of playing with, and as you're designing your site, you can put elements at the top so that that space of the website gets used. If I just delete it, because that element is initially hidden, or yeah, it's kind of playing with it a little bit. We see it didn't move there, and maybe it's because it's under these elements here. But that just takes a little bit of playing with and a little bit of design, so that that hidden element doesn't affect the spacing of your website. All right, looks good. And it moved down a little bit. So yeah, we can just play with it. I'll move it down here just like that. We'll preview it one more time. So I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser. And we have the cats thinking about stuff. Looks good. And perfect. Yeah, and there it doesn't move. So you could put like a header here at the top. Like I could put here, you know, Muse Motion. That's what I did with the other site. So I use this font here, Nord, kind of a funny name, and white, and center it. All right, so I'll center that there at the top, align and center. All right, and I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser. There we go, Muse Motion, and we have those cats animating. All right, very cool. So yeah, again, it brought it down a little bit, and yeah. So it just takes a little bit of playing with, or you can fix the elements and that would look good as well. All right. Okay, I think I've previewed this enough. So there's the animation, and one other thing that I'm going to show, if I go to File, New Site, I just want to show the transform origin a little bit more too. So I'll just create a square, graphic styles, call it, or let me give it some color. Go to my CC libraries. Let's give it this dark blue color. Graphic styles, and let's remove that there. Back in the CC libraries here, there we go. And I'll go to graphic styles, new style, motion 1, and I'll go to my library panel, and again I'll type in Muse Motion initial right in here, and great. On start, looks good. And then we're going to rotate it here. I just want to show what the rotation looks like when you transform the origin. So here I'll say 360, and we'll give it a duration of 3 seconds. Okay, and the transform origin is at 50-50, so it's right in the center. So if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, it animates in the center. And let's say we have it animate from the top left, so I'll say 0, 0. And I go to File, Preview Page in Browser. There it animates from the top left there, and I think we have, yeah, so this element here, I'm just gonna delete this actually, because I added graphic style names. It kind of messed with the different states of the element. So I'll go to graphic styles, and let's see, we'll call it motion 2, or you know what, just so it doesn't get confusing, let me delete all of these styles like so. All right, replace. Okay, great. And I'll delete this square, create it again, go to my CC libraries. There we go. Now I'll click on the element. I'll go to graphic styles, click on the new style, call it motion 1. All right, so there we go. Okay, so if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, there it just animates really nice. Okay, and I'll give it more scroll space so it has room to move. All right, so as we can see, we're animating from the top left. So let's say I want to animate from the bottom right. I'll say 100 and 100, and I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and there it animates. So this rectangle might be a little bit too big. So let's go to File, Preview Page in Browser. So like I was saying before about the seconds and everything, this is an example where it's almost the rotation and the timing aren't going well together. See, there we go. It looked much smoother. So I just took less timing off the rotation, and these are just little things that you can play with as you're designing. So let's say I said 3 seconds. I'll add more rotation to it, so it has more time to move in the rotation. So we can see it looks great. The other one is, I think I just had it the seconds. I didn't have enough time for it to really animate within that time frame, but I added more time and more rotation to it. Okay, so let's keep working with the transform origin. So here I'll say 0, 100, so it'll animate from the bottom left. So I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and there it is. And then we'll do the top right, so we'll say 100 and 0. All right, and I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and there it animates from the top right. Okay, and then back to center is 50-50. And I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and there it animates in the center. very good. So, and we can add more timing to that. Let's say 5 seconds. And I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser. Looks nice, great. All right, looks good. So a lot of these options I did go over in the first and second video tutorial. So if you want to go over the rotate and translate options, just take a look at that first video. And then I did some in the second video as well. So I'll just end it with the cats again. I know I previewed this a lot, but it's just a fun animation, and I'll fix it here to the top so we don't have any movement there. And I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser. And there we go. The cat's thinking about different things, and it looks good. All right, perfect. So there's Muse Motion. I had a lot of fun working on this widget, and I'm always doing improvements to widgets. And yeah, so just like excited about making widgets. And yeah, if there's anything that I see can be improved, I do improve it in the widget. I know with the 26 menu styles, there's been a few questions about that as far as like the different states when you change the menu. And I did make it a point to say that it is intended for one-page scrolling websites. If you still have issues with it, let me know. I'm almost thinking of maybe not offering it because I know a few of you have had some issues with it. So just let me know. Again, I'm very open to answering questions and helping you with the widgets and different ideas with Adobe Muse. So to get access to this widget, you simply go to museforyoushop.com, and then here you can click on the pop-up, and here you can subscribe to get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with. If you'd like to subscribe with PayPal, you can click here, or if you'd like to purchase the widget individually, you can click here on Muse Motion. And then here you can click Add to Cart to purchase individually, or again, you can get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. So again, I do this to help you build awesome websites without code. If you like this video tutorial, you can subscribe below. Also in the Show More section below are links to other resources and links to museforyoushop.com. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Thank you.